we're starting streaming a whole minute early so that I can make sure that we're actually live and can get the links out to people. My dastardly
Smart.
deeds know no bounds.
Dastardly deeds. It's us. We're so dastardly.
The dastard list. So since we started early, it looks like it'll take the stream a second to catch up. So I can't hear our voices right now to double check that we're good. However, I believe that I now have the ability to post a link. So I will do that post haste.
You'll do the post haste.
The hastiest post.
The hastiest post. Just got a little pop up that said that we're live, so I think we're good.
Wonderful. Copy link.
I don't know how to read.
I can't read.
What's up? I'm Jared. I'm 19 and I never fucking learned how to read.
Wonderful. And up to Gift of Gab.
Gift of Gab. Gift of Gab.
The gabbiest gifts.
The Gab of Gift. Oh, I forgot to put on my glasses so I could actually fucking read.
Glasses are useful for that purpose.
Yeah, earlier my mother-in-law was having me watch a trailer for a game. It's like she's like, look at the graphics. I'm like, those sure are graphics. I'm not wearing my glasses.
Those are graphics that I can see with my human eyes in a normal and legible fashion.
Uh-huh. The funny thing is, my nearsightedness by itself wouldn't be bad enough for glasses. My astigmatism by itself wouldn't be bad enough for glasses, but together they're bad enough for glasses.
With their powers combined. Horror
We
of
shall make it
horrors.
so this bitch can't read.
Can't read.
But no, I also fucking startled my moist Brit because I went outside for a second the other night and I was looking at the moon and I came back in. I was like, is the moon always so crisp?
No.
Like you could see the face on there in detail?
Apparently, my glasses have just arrived in the mail, so I too shall join you in the land of crisp. I'm very excited.
Hell yeah. Crisp, crisp, crisp.
Crisp. Alrighty.
Banana.
Speaking of crisp, shall we begin to read?
Let me finish this banana real quick.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Satan has banana.
God damn it, the banana betrayed me.
In what way? How? What?
I was eating it and my teeth got caught on my piercing. Ow.
Oh, gotcha.
I really need to get the piercing swapped out because this keeps happening and it fucking hurts.
I'm sorry, Hunt.
It just needs to be shorter.
Less prone to
Betrayed
damage.
by the metal in my... Betrayal. Okay, so we ready?
Ready, Freddy?
Ready, Eddie. It takes just under an hour to reach the far beach by the ocean. The one by the lake was much closer, but you're here for Carcat and not just a pleasant stretch of sand. You also may have tripped a few times on your journey here, but no one was there to see it, so you're going to bravely pretend that nothing happened, ignoring the small forming bruises on your knees and ego. Once you make it to the sandy shore, you then have to find Carcat. You don't seem to have to come out anywhere near him. You don't seem to... Starting strong with Satan doesn't know how to read.
All good.
You You don't seem to have come out anywhere near him, and for a horrible moment, you fear that he may have flown off somewhere else in the time it took you to get here. You pick a direction and start to walk, and within a few minutes, you see the distant glare of reflected sunlight off of Karkat's white wings. Karkat is sitting on the beach with his wings open and gently resting on the sand as they curve around him and act as something of a windbreak.
Karkat!
You call out as you get closer. Karkat looks up in surprise, and you see one of his wings lower and realize that he's reading a book.
Rose, what are you doing here?
He asks as you walk up to him.
I came here looking for you. You seemed so upset earlier, and I was worried. I saw you fly down here, so I walked through the jungle to find you.
You tell him.
Oh, that's...
Karkat falters for a moment.
that's nice. I didn't expect that. I care about you, Karkat. We're friends.
You tell him as you sit down next to him on the sand. Karkat pulls his wings in and puts them away, then closes his book but keeps it in hand.
I have an idea of what you must have read in those books. June and I had a look in some of Jake Harley's journals. The man is a monster. He definitely belongs in hell.
You say venomously.
Too bad that he isn't.
Karkat mutters.
What? What?
You ask him in shock.
Solix got back about 15 minutes ago, thawed out over there. Jake Harley didn't stay there, down there. When all of the demons came out of hell, so did he.
Karkat explains and gestures to a dent in the sand and a little bit lower on the beach, near Karkat's feet. You can see sharp lines dug in the sand at one end that you think you can attribute to Solix's horns.
Oh, poor boy.
He's doing his best, Your Honor.
But he's dead. That's not possible, is it? Not unless he's a ghost or a lich, but a lich would require a body, and that's in the house.
You say in shock.
Solix says he does a body snatcher thing. He hangs out in a living body. He says that's how he's been avoiding Aradia. Apparently, he's her most wanted.
Karkat shrugs, staring out at the ocean.
So, he could be anywhere.
You ask in horror. Could you have passed that monster on the street and not known it?
I guess. Solix and Matuna are figuring it out, but when they find him...
Karkat trails off with a low growl, and his halo flickers back in for a second. Every bit the angel of vengeance.
What does Jade say about all of this?
You ask.
She doesn't want me to say.
Karkat answers simply, going back to normal.
This whole situation is the worst. I'm so sorry you had to read all of that. I suppose Jade doesn't want you talking about the contents of those books, but you can still talk about how you feel, if that'll help. You were so upset, understandably so.
You say softly and touch his arm to try to reassure him. Karkat stays silent, but gives the ocean a pained look.
It feels like forever since we've talked.
You add, and Karkat tips his head back and closes his eyes.
We talk. We're friends. I could probably see you more at classes, but as much as I want to learn everything, I feel weird about being lectured. Solix said that it's pretty understandable, and Dave said that I might find tutorials easier. I could just read the textbooks and everyone's notes to try to catch up.
Karkat says and glances over at you. He didn't talk to you about any of that, though. You vaguely want to go and punch your brother in the arm, even though you can't quite put your finger on why.
I think that perhaps I should be more explicit and clear with you. I forget that you don't know everything we do. Or rather, it's not that I forget, but that I'm not aware of where the gaps in your understanding are. Clear communication is probably the best route.
You say.
I appreciate that.
Karkat says with a small and grateful smile on his face.
I feel that I haven't seen you as often as I used to see you before. I understand that you've essentially found a family and that you're figuring things out with Solix and my brother, but I miss you, is all.
You tell him plainly.
I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to upset you.
He apologizes.
Well, I didn't think that you were. Don't worry.
You reassure him.
Solix did say that the messaging thing was important. I didn't realize that was something I had to do.
He says unhappily.
You don't have to, but I worry about you. I used to always have a very good idea of whether you were out, in, or out of the dorm, and usually a rough idea of when you might be back. Or if you didn't know when you'd be back, then I'd normally know where you were. You're certainly not defenseless, but I worry.
You say, again, trying to be as clear as you can.
I wasn't trying to make you worry. Maybe we should have a group message for that. I know I have some already for study groups, and there does seem to be one with all of us, but I don't see anyone using it for that.
He says, pulling his phone out and scrolling through it with a small frown.
Well, you normally wouldn't tell everyone, just me.
You say. Karkat stares at his phone instead of looking at you.
Right, yeah, because we live together. Probably easier if I make a group for everyone. I'll do that later.
That's not really what you wanted, but you're not sure how to say that, or why. Isn't that essentially what you asked for? You sit on the beach, uneasy and not quite able to explain yourself.
Have I done anything to upset you? I know that I don't know anything about angels, and things feel off between us. We used to be so close. We had this joke about us being married, even.
You say a little desperately.
But you're gay.
Karkat says and looks at you with a frown.
That's why it was funny.
You say patiently.
Us not being together was funny?
He asks, clearly missing the context of the joke.
No, it was a dumb joke about how close we were and what human relationships could be like, and it's hard to explain.
You tell him. Karkat looks out at the ocean again, and you're not sure if he sighs or if that's just the sound of the waves.
Can I read you part of this book that I've been reading? It's not one of Jade's or her grandfather's, it's one from the Salem Library.
Karkat asks, though his tone gets dark at the mention of Jake. You're a little thrown here.
Sure?
It seems like the book that Karkat wants to read to you was the one in his hand all along. He opens it up and flicks through the pages.
It's a philosophy book, but it's a quiz book too. It's fun. You try to work out what you think and if it makes sense. The scenarios are made up, but they're demonstrative of the idea, I think.
Karkat explains as he flicks through.
Sure, a thought experiment.
You nod.
So, this is all about staying alive. Well, not literally, it's made up, but the point is to be consistent about what being alive means. I'll read you something, and you tell me what you do.
Karkat explains, and despite the fact that this is an unexpected conversational turn, you're actually pretty interested in this.
I like a challenge. Go on.
You smile.
For the first one, you're trying to go to Mars, the planet, not the god. You can take one of two ways to get there. The first way is a teleportation spell that reaches all the way, but because it's so far away, it doesn't work like real teleportation spells. Instead, it copies everything about you and makes you up again by magic on the other side. The second way is by rocket ship, and I looked this one up. Apparently, those were real, and humans tried to go to the moon, but it went badly because of radiation. Anyway, this says to imagine that they fixed that problem and go to Mars in it, except they didn't fix the problem because there's a 50% chance you die going there. But if you take the spaceship, then if you get to Mars, you can still have your original brain and body.
Karkat reads out and explains to you with his own little asides. You consider this for a moment, starting to see the edges of the trap that's being laid out for you.
I think I'd take the weird teleportation spell.
You answer him.
Okay.
Karkat nods and flicks through the book a little.
You get to Mars, but it's hard to live there, obviously. There's viruses there, and we're going to ignore how that happened, I guess. The viruses destroy your body bit by bit, but the people on Mars with you can replace the damaged parts with magical tech, and you've had almost everything replaced. The other virus destroys your brain. It doesn't kill you, but the scarring from it completely changes who you are. Everything you like, everything you're good at, all gone and changed to something else. You have the virus, and you can either let it do that, you'd survive but be someone else, or you can replace your whole brain with silicone chips and keep everything that you are, but lose your actual brain.
Karkat says.
I can see that it's baiting me to try to keep some part of my physical body, but so what? It's just meat. Give me a computer brain. That seems like the better choice.
You say, pleased at working the problem out before they try to gotcha with it. Karkat looks at you for a moment and then back down in his book.
The last choice is about. Sorry, I'm skipping ahead. The scientists on Mars are able to repair everyone. You get your brain back eventually. They also discover proof of the soul and discover that souls move from life to life, but that they cannot survive below freezing temperatures for a week. Unfortunately, you have become very ill. The cure to what is killing you is nearly complete, but you won't live to see it. They have also discovered how to deep freeze and revive people. You can choose to let yourself die to the disease, preserving your soul, even though your soul doesn't retain memories of anything between lives, or you can be deep frozen and revived, though there is only a 30% chance of that working. What do?
Karkat asks you quietly, reading from the book. You think about this. This is a test of survival, right? Well, none of your body remains, but you preserved yourself, as it were, by having a silicone brain put in. The soul sounds nice, but if it doesn't remember anything, then what was the point in preserving your mind? You're not sure that either is the wrong answer, but you know what your gut is saying.
Freeze me. I'll take my odds.
You tell him.
You survive.
Karkat says, and drops the book into your hands with the pages down. You turn the book over in your hands and look over the forking decision path the scenarios laid down. You chose to preserve your mind, but there were other equally valid options to preserve your physical body or to preserve your soul instead. You were right that at that fork there was no wrong answer given your previous choices.
How interesting. What made you want to show me this?
You ask him curiously as you skim the pages.
I thought it might help you. It helped me a little bit.
Karkat says quietly, looking out at the ocean once more.
You.
Wow, brain took a
Your
a
brain took a
fucky
skip
wucky for
and
a
my brain took
second.
a do.
Wee.
Wee.
You look down at the pages again and feel a sense of unease rise within you.
You seem upset that I don't act like I did before. It's probably easier if you think that I'm dead.
Karkat tells you, still not looking at you.
Karkat, no, you're not dead. It's just a book.
You say quickly.
Books are important, Rose, and I'm pretty sure that your Karkat did die. His body was completely destroyed. As for his soul, it's not working. I've only got one part of it functioning again, and everyone keeps telling me that I'm not using it the way that he did, or some people. Whatever. As for my mind, I don't think like him. I don't know how to be basically human. That's the life he had. All I know about is angel stuff. I definitely don't think like you I definitely don't think like your Karkat, and that matters to you.
Karkat explains as he stares out over the ocean. You look down at your book and see that the thing you chose to save about yourself was your mind, to keep who you are as a person the same above all else. You could have picked differently, chosen to keep your brain and let the virus make you a new person, like saving Karkat changed his mind. You saw death in that choice and rejected it.
That's not what I meant, and it's not that simple, Karkat. I miss you. You. I don't care if you're the same person as before, if you act the same or think the same. I miss you. I care about you, Karkat.
You plead with him.
Karkat was lucky. It sounds nice. The whole thing that you two had sounds like it was great. You didn't do anything wrong. I like you. We're friends. I'd maybe like it if you'd stop comparing me to a dead guy. It's not like being freshly made and immediately a disappointment to people is new to me, but it's not a fun time for me.
Karkat says quietly, his voice sad and distant in a way.
No, that's not. I don't want to do that to you. That's not.
You gasp out, clutching the book to your chest. Karkat winces and looks at you properly.
Sorry, that came out meaner than I meant it. I know that you're not trying to do that. You're nothing like Kankry. I shouldn't have said that. I know that's not what you mean. Are you apologizing to me?
You ask in disbelief. The thought occurs to you that apologizing in a moment like this is an incredibly Karkat thing to do, and then you feel utterly wretched for thinking it.
Yeah, you lost someone. That hurts. I didn't mean to make it worse. It sounds like you were happy with him, but I can't.
Karkat breathes in and then sighs deeply, regretfully.
I want to be your friend, really. I like you. I'm sorry.
You whisper, your throat choking shut around the words.
Me too.
Karkat sighs and falls backwards on the warm sand. You feel that you've been stupid or terrible without meaning to. But does the intent really matter here? You made Karkat feel that way. You've been comparing him to someone he isn't, someone you love dearly, but it's not fair. You don't know if you agree that Karkat as you knew him is dead. You don't feel like you can agree or say that this book is the end all be all of it. That's not what matters. What matters right now is Karkat and how he feels. You place the book down in your lap and turn to look at Karkat. You consider everything, and then at last you speak.
Hi, I'm Rose Lalonde.
You say, holding a hand out to him.
I knew that.
Karkat says slowly.
I've not known you that long. We've not been roommates for very long. So I thought I should introduce myself so we can get to know each other.
You explain. Karkat stares at you with wide eyes and scrambles upright.
Did you just lose your memories?
Oh no, baby! Karkat, no!
So precious. No,
Precious boy.
no, but you're right. You're not the person that I knew before. I don't want to hurt you or to compare you. I want to get to know you, and I'm going to introduce myself so you can meet me for the first time. That way, I'm not expecting you to know anything about me. Obviously, I remember, but it's like your book. It's a little bit pretend. It's a little bit pretend to make the point.
You tell him.
You don't need to pretend that you've never met me before.
Karkat says, but his voice is soft, almost sweet.
Sure, but I want to fix my mistake. I want to start over, if you'll let me.
You say as earnestly as you can.
What? Are you looking for angelic forgiveness?
Karkat questions you as his mouth twists into a sly little smile.
I suppose, though I'm not sure I'd seek out any other angel for that. I've heard bad things.
You say thoughtfully. If anything, you think you've learned that the sensible thing to do when you encounter an angel is to run the other way.
All deserved, I assure you. But
Karkat pauses. He's got one arm draped over his knees, but he reaches out with his other arm and puts his hand on your head.
I angelically forgive you, which is a thing that doesn't mean anything and isn't some magical power I was given, which is good. You don't want that heaven crap anywhere near you. Thank you. I hope to earn it. So, you've got a sense of humor and an anti-authoritarian streak. This is a thing that I am learning about you now, for the first time. I'm much the same.
You assure him.
Does anyone in your family not have those things?
Karkat laughs and drops back down onto the sand again.
No, it's basically anarchy in our house all of the time when we're there. My mother is also much the same. Jake Harley was her thesis advisor. I found that out in his journals. She also cursed him too, made him lose his hearing for a week, and shed all of his skin. It was apparently very painful.
You tell him.
Good.
Karkat growls.
Do you think that Jade is in any danger from her grandpa then? You said he wasn't in hell, so if he's just up here doing whatever. Ugh.
You shudder at the thought.
He'll have to get through me first, and Solix. Also, if he goes anywhere near Solix, I'll kill him for that too.
Karkat hisses.
Maybe I'll ask Mom to teach me that curse after all.
You say lightly, and Karkat actually giggles at that, like a little kid who just heard the funniest joke. You settle down on the beach next to Karkat and try to relax a little. You give Karkat's book back to him, and he cheerfully shows you a few of the other tests and quizzes in there, ones that are a little less pointed towards your current situation. You get the impression that Karkat really just enjoys learning things, and him bringing you knowledge is his way of being friendly. Luckily for both of you, you're absolutely unable to resist the temptation of things you don't know. Which just makes me think, like, penguin pebbling?
Yes.
It's like penguin pebbling, but with knowledge, and it's so cute.
That's so cute. They're so
So
sweet.
cute.
I love them.
They are. And there's so many. I want Rose to get her head out of her ass.
Yep, this is that conversation.
Uh-huh. A good couple of hours pass like that. It's not the same as it was. Now that you're not trying to will the Karkat that you knew back, it's easier to see just how different this Karkat is. He's still absolutely your kind of person, and getting to know him again is nice. Eventually, you both have to head back to Jade's house. Karkat is actually really interested in walking there. He peers curiously at each plant and bug that you pass. You show him how to look up what they are online, and Karkat is thrilled about that.
On the subject of angels,
You start.
we were talking about bugs.
Karkat interrupts you.
On the subject of things that fly,
You correct yourself.
does that make me and Solix bugs then? And June too?
Karkat goes on. Not because he believes you, but because he clearly finds this funny.
On the subject of angels, is there anything angelic that I need to know about?
You ask and clamber over a fallen tree. Karkat politely holds his hand out to help you down the other side.
We're generally bad news, and I'm a terrible angel.
He answers.
Sure, but I meant more like, is there anything specific to your species that I ought to know about? I know there are things that are dangerous or inappropriate when it comes to Jade because she's Fey, or Solix because he's a demon. I know that you're quite hard to hurt, but I don't want to hurt you even a little bit, or commit any horrifying faux pas.
You elaborate. The memory of your first meeting with Kanaya comes unbidden into your mind, as it will for as long as you live. If your soul remembers your life after death, then you will cringe into eternity. You're sure of it.
Oh.
Karkat looks at you wide-eyed and hesitates. You get the feeling that he is going to say something, so you let the silence hang.
The wing thing is possibly worth noting.
Karkat mumbles.
What about them?
You ask.
Before you offered to...
Karkat is very much not looking at you, and it's not because he's delighted at the sight of some tropical plant either. He's absolutely avoiding eye contact with you.
I offered to help you reach feathers when it seemed awkward for you. Is that wrong? Should I not touch them? Or perhaps not acknowledge them or look at them?
You wonder.
You don't have to pretend that they don't exist, Rose. That'd be stupid, me standing there with my wings out blocking space off in our dorm as you stand there pretending like they're not there. No, you can touch them, they're just a part of my body, but don't...
Karkat waves a hand vaguely.
It's totally normal to touch someone's hand in day to day life, but it's thoroughly weird to grab someone's hand and lovingly stroke it or lace your fingers together. It's intensity and meaning, correct?
You guess. Karkat nods and his face is tight in the way that you're used to seeing when he's trying very hard not to be emotional or flustered about something.
Thank you, that's good to know. I apologize for being accidentally inappropriate. Is there anything else?
You ask.
I don't. Uh. Not the face either, I guess. Just to be safe or whatever.
Karkat mumbles, his shoulders hunching up a little in embarrassment. That's odd. You're pretty sure that Karkat never had an issue with that before, but then he didn't know angel culture. You also think that you may have seen the others touch his face since he was remade as this version of himself. You think you remember seeing Matuna hold Karkat's face in his hands, and you're sure that Zelix and Dave have no boundaries there. You're not going to question it. If Karkat is drawing a line, then that's all you need to know. It's not. You want to know why, but it's none of your business, and Karkat is obviously uncomfortable about this, so you won't ask.
Telling you everything about where I'm going and what's happening is also a lot. Not just for that, but also it's. Cankry was a lot. I know I'm a liability a lot right now, so I probably need to, but I don't like it. Would a group thing be a compromise?
Karkat asks, hopefully.
Of course. I didn't mean to make it sound like I knew your every move before, but we were just very naturally communicative, I suppose. Then again, he didn't remember Cankry, so it's not fair to judge you the same way. Not to mention that wouldn't compare. I only just recently met you.
You remind him.
Right.
Karkat laughs softly.
I think there's sand in my shoes.
You say after a few minutes of silence, suggest that Karkat doesn't have anything else he'd like to mention at this time.
Would you prefer snow?
He asks.
No, it was so cold back in Salem. Does the cold bother you?
You wonder, thinking about how Karkat got trapped on Everest before.
No, not really. Angels fly instead of teleporting, so we end up pretty high in the atmosphere and we go really fast. Cold isn't a problem for me. Heat doesn't bother me either. My body isn't real.
Karkat explains a little apathetically.
You feel real, though. That's real.
You suggest, and Karkat shrugs as if you've made a point, but he doesn't have much to say about it. You arrive back at Jade's house without falling over, which is naturally exactly how you got to the beach. No one can attest otherwise. The petty part of you that glared at the taxidermy Jake Harley is vindicated when Karkat gives him a look that could kill again as you pass him. You don't get to spend much time with Karkat because Matuna calls down the stairs to him, and Karkat hurries off to see what he wants.
Wonderful. Wow, we made it through. I was worried
Wonderful.
about that convo.
Oh,
Just because, it's so long and it's so just Carcat and Rose.
yeah, understandable. I'm proud of myself that I made it through the whole way.
You did amazing. And, like, very few gaps, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I didn't the fucker didn't jump on me, which I count as a win.
Yeah.
We're winning, Your Honor.
We're weaning. We're
We're
doing it right.
winning. Hell yeah.
Wonderful. So, we're going to take our break now. We'll come back at 20 on the hour.
Yep, that's how time works.
That's how time works.
I had to think for a second, like, oh goodness.
Yeah.
All right. See you in a bit, hon.
See you in a bit. I'll get the music up.
Adios. Hello. Sorry, I got distracted.
Hello, hello. Welcome back, all.
Hello.
Wonderful. Alrighty.
They just keep happening, man.
Skitter-ups?
Stairs.
Stairs.
Stairs. Bonk. Oh, goodness.
Wonderful. And how about, since you did so much narration last time, shall I take narration for now?
Okie dokie, that'd be lovely. Let me just open up my other phone.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're on 8.6 now.
I was about to ask.
Yeah. And would it be helpful if I sent you a link?
Oh, no, I got it.
Wonderful.
Appreciation, though.
Yeah. It's good to offer.
Yeah.
Also, you commented
And
on
I'm gonna go.
wanting Rose to get her head out of her ass. This is step one of that process, but there is still a key part we're about to experience of denial.
Denial is a river in Egypt.
Yep.
Your husband is gay.
Your husband is gay.
You are slightly less gay than you originally thought.
Bum bum bum. Ba-da-dum.
At least in the pale quadrant.
Yeah. She can have one non-gay quadrant. Carcat specific quadrant.
As a treat.
As a treat.
And again, Karkat's gender is funky little guy.
Right. He doesn't seem terribly attached to, I don't know, masculinity.
He doesn't, and I love that for him.
What's your gender?
His gender
Floating
is
ring of
dinosaur.
eyes. What does that mean? What do you think?
Your gender is what is in your pants. Feathers.
Feathers.
Feathers. Eyeballs.
What's in my pants? A fucking swan. Eat shit, dipshit.
Oh, Swan, please.
Swan pants. The most horrifying form
His
of
gender,
pants.
murder chicken.
Gender is murder.
It's
Alrighty.
fitting.
Shall I begin?
Yeah.
Okay. This leaves you alone, free to wander Jade's house as you wish. You regret that the first room you go into contains Dave. Rather, it contains Dave with an oppressive aura of smugness that is so vast you can scarcely get into the room at all.
Come to apologize?
Dave asks lightly from where he is sprawled out across the large couch and its patchwork repaired cushions. Absolutely not, you say sweetly. Do you feel bad at snapping for Dave the way you did? Yes. Are you going to apologize for it? Not now, you're not. Not after he's asked for it.
Ah.
Dave says and swings his leg to give him the momentum to smoothly sit up to look at you properly.
Come to find out about Karkat then?
There's no problem with Karkat. We talked. I didn't need you at all. You tell him tartly.
Aw. Hey, I'm actually happy to hear that. He was obviously upset about it, and even when you're acting chronically uncool, you're still my sister, and I do care about you. I'm glad you've got that diamond all sorted out.
Dave smiles and watches you as he says it. Diamond, you repeat, confused by the word for a moment. Dave continues to smile at you silently, and your mind rapidly returns the likely meanings of that word. Dave could be making a reference to the shape, implying a time or emotional balancing act between Karkat, you, and Karkat's two boyfriends. 4 people can make a diamond, but you know with utter certainty that Dave isn't saying that. You've heard the word before, pale, moirail, diamond. The symbol for Dave and Solix's relationship is a diamond, and Solix has called Dave his diamond before. He's implying that you're Karkat's Moirail. There are no diamonds involved. Karkat isn't my Moirail. That's not a thing that... You begin, but Dave blithely interrupts you as if you weren't talking at all.
Angels have Moirails. They do the whole quadrant thing, another demon angel similarity. I think their Kismesis thing is kind of wonky, but Karkat's got that figured out. I'm glad that you two talked. Karkat was pretty stressed out before about humans not getting quadrants. I didn't realize that he meant you when he was saying that.
Dave continues. I'm gay, you say flatly.
For Karkat? Shit, me too. Damn. Okay, well, no, I'm not. I'm bi, but that ruins the bit, so we're ignoring that.
Dave mutters that last part to himself. Oh, Dave.
I love this man so much.
He's so great. I'm not pale for Karkat. We're just friends. He's a man, and I'm not romantically interested in men. You snap at him, livid that he would lecture you on this of all topics.
Then either you're wrong, like maybe you just don't want to bone dudes, but the pale rom was fine. I don't know how that works. Not an issue for me. So either that or you need to get it together and shape your shit up.
Dave tells you. Your mouth must be hanging open in something between shock and rage. Unfortunately, Dave takes that as an invitation to keep talking. He takes so many things as an invitation to keep talking.
Because I didn't see it before, right? Karkat is amazingly yelly and angry for a guy who can make friends with literally anyone. Of course he'd be friends with you. You two were roommates, so obviously he spent more time with you, and you two were tight. Love that for you. Karkat, who didn't know he was an angel, didn't get quadrants. See my source of the Great Halloween Clusterfuck, trademarked. But now you're all weird about him.
Dave says. He's my friend. I missed him. I was being an ass by trying to compare him to who he was and expecting him to immediately click back into a relationship that he didn't remember, but that's none of your business. We're not Moirails, you snap.
Yeah, except nah. Because I tell Sullux everything that I'm worried about before I tell anyone else. I message him about everything. When he's upset, I need to be the one to fix that. If he started cutting me out and doing that stuff with everyone else or just not with me at all, then I'd be heartbroken. Diamond broken? Whatever. You're pissy that I got my boyfriend back, that Sullux got his boyfriend back, and you didn't.
Dave accuses you. Or maybe he just says it, but it feels like he tried to stab you with the words. That is not what is happening here, you deny hotly.
Fine.
Dave says and holds his hands up in surrender. When Dave speaks next, his voice is softer, concerned even.
You and Karkat were crazy close before. If you say that's not how it was, then maybe I'm wrong. I believe you if you say you don't want that because you're gay. I'm not telling you that you're just some silly, misguided lesbian who just needs a man. Fuck that. Seriously, Rose, I'm not doing that. I'm telling you that what you're doing is pale as fuck. Obviously, no one else has said it, so I had to.
Why are you even bringing this up then? What's the point of this little stunt? You hiss at him, genuinely furious at him for this. Dave looks away from you and sighs. He looks upset about this. He has no right to, after everything he's thrown in your face.
He didn't know he was an angel, but he still was one. He got his whole hate man's thing with Sullux, even though he didn't get what was going on. You remember how confused and upset he was.
Dave says quietly. You do remember. Karkat hated himself for his impulsive actions. He hated that he betrayed Dave's trust, that he hurt Solix. He hated feeling that way at all. It made him miserable. He wasn't to know that he'd evidently been dating Solix for a long time and simply forgot.
If you say that you're not pale for Karkat, then I believe you. What I think doesn't matter. You say it and I'm gonna take you at your word.
Dave says, and then winces.
But Karkat was an angel before, and he's one now. Only now he knows it. He got the Sullux thing immediately. You think he doesn't get this? Doesn't see what you're doing as obviously as I can?
That's. You falter. The first day that Karkat woke up, he asked if you two were pale. He'd mistaken your interaction with him for more allegiance on his first day as his new self. We already talked about it on his first day. When he woke up, I mean, you say uneasily.
Wait, really? Then why?
Dave asks, looking thrown at your words. Well, I told him I was gay. I explained what that meant, you say, and start to feel some of Karkat's distance making sense.
But you've still been acting pale. Rose, this isn't me trying to gotcha here. You're acting like you did with him before. You can't. He's not human.
Dave says in a pained voice. You put your face in your hands and feel strongly that you should never leave. Have you been making Karkat uncomfortable in even more ways? He told you things that he didn't want you to do, but you'd assumed that was a species thing and not you being romantically inappropriate. But it's not. You weren't trying to do that. You weren't. Karkat is your friend, your best friend. You didn't mean anything else by it, really.
I'm sorry for being a dick about it. You made me angry, and then I realized what's been going on and why Karkat's been weird about this. I'm pissed that he's obviously been stressed about this, but was too nice to say anything about it. I'm sorry, that's a shitty apology. Really, I'm not trying to lecture you on you, but maybe don't hit on my boyfriend if you don't mean it.
Dave mumbles and awkwardly pats your shoulder as if he thinks that you might bite him for trying. I think I'm just going to fill my pockets with rocks and walk into the ocean. It's the only suitable course of action from here. You mumble in agony from the safety of your hands.
Okay, chill out, Virginia Woolf. Or wait, was that her? Sylvia Plath? Some gay poet. Perhaps you could find another way of dealing with this.
Dave suggests. Everything today has really just been the absolute worst. Really, it couldn't get any worse, you say miserably.
Why would you say that?
Dave hisses at you, which is an incredible place to end a chapter. Luckily for our
It
listeners, we
is.
are continuing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You both
Are you still good
pause.
for narration, or do you want me to switch?
I'm good for now, but we might need to switch at the library.
Okie dokie, artichoke.
You both pause, as if expecting an errant bolt of lightning to come out of the blue and strike Jade's house, blowing it up instantly. That doesn't happen, and you look at your brother mockingly for his superstition. There's a distant, "Oh fuck!" from a few floors above you, and Dave gives you a flat yet judgmental look. There's a rush of air, and suddenly June is in the room in full god mode. This might be nothing, but it also might not be nothing. We need to get back to Salem now. Like now, June says in a rush.
This is your fault, Rose. What's wrong, June?
Dave asks and gets up. So, remember how Jade set up those spells in Salem to detect if anything was coming near the dorm? June says and leads you both out of the room. Is something trying to get into our dorm? You ask worriedly. Yeah, no, they didn't go off at all. Thing is, we just checked them and there's nothing there at all. No movement, she says as you hurry up the stairs.
Isn't that what you want?
Dave asks. This is sounding a lot like nothing after all. No, dude, there's always movement. There should always be movement of some kind, and there isn't, she answers. So either the spell has broken or something is very wrong indeed, you conclude. Yeah, we're heading back to find out what's what, June says. She brings you up to Jade's bedroom, and your eyes land on Karkat, who has his wings out. His feathers are flicking in anxious little movements that match the uneasy side snap of Solix and Matuna's tails.
We go back to Dave's dorm and I'm we go I'm doing my best, Your Honor. I don't know how to
You're
read.
doing great.
We We go back to Dave and Zelix's dorm. I'll take them and you take Carcat. The less people that you're taking with him, the better.
Mituna explains, and Solix and Karkat both nod. You look worriedly at Jade. Her eyes are red rimmed and her face is a little bit blotchy, too. Clearly, she's having a terrible time, but at least her hellhound seems to be comforting her as she repeatedly pets him in soothing motions.
Okay.
Mituna says and spreads his hands out. The floor lights up with a quickly defined teleportation spell. It seems less complex than the one that Zolix had to use in the nightclub, but you suppose that Karkat must have been a problem there. You hear Solix and Karkat vanish half a second before you do, then you're at Dave and Solix's dorm. The cold hits you like a punch to the gut. The air hisses out between your teeth in pained shock. You wrap your arms around yourself and look around the room, the frozen room. There's ice glimmering on the furniture in a frosty layer, sheets of it spreading up the walls from the window, and your breath mists before your face as you scramble to get your coat from your bag of holding.
This isn't nothing.
Mituna shudders and magics some thicker clothing on himself. What did this? Jade whispers, and Karkat strides to the window and peers outside. Everything out there is frozen solid, Karkat reports, seemingly unbothered by the cold. This is not a normal weather thing at all. This is another plane merging into ours and changing it. Really, really changing it, June says, and her face twists in concentration. As she does so, there's a rush of warm air, and you all huddle to be closer in it. June has made a little cyclone of balmy summer evening air. It swirls around you in faint shimmers of blue light. Everyone but Karkat has crammed in tight, and Karkat is frowning at his phone, even as frost starts to glitter in his hair. The phone isn't working. It says there's no signal, Karkat says.
They don't always work in other planes. We gotta find Kanaya,
Mituna says and shivers. She should be working now, but I don't know when this started. The library is a good place to start looking, Karkat agrees. Outside, then. Come on, June nods. Karkat goes ahead, opening doors for your group, even as he has to yank them to get the frost to fall away. He goes down the stairs and lends a hand to help each of you follow him and not slip down the stairs. Can't we just teleport? You ask finally, tired of how long this is taking.
I don't know what plane this is. They don't all play nice with teleportation. And now that we're in it, it'd be a bad idea to do it without knowing more.
How many icy planes of reality are there? Solix answers you. Dang. You ask, but the look of the faces of both demons tells you that it's a bad question to ask. Karkat goes to push the door to your dorm building open, only for it to shatter as he touches it. That's probably not my fault, Karkat says slowly, and steps outside. Probably. I'm not putting any harsh definites on this situation, but...
Probably not my fault.
Probably.
I think you're just doing that so we'll open doors for you in the future. All gentlemanly like.
Dave jokes weakly, and Solix shakes his head in despair. Well, this seems less than ideal, Karkat says from outside, looking around at whatever is out there. You follow outside to see for yourself. The streets of Salem look like a frozen apocalypse has hit it. Several rows of buildings are encased in glaciers, trees are solid white with frost and bear jagged icicles instead of leaves. The road is hidden beneath a thick slick of ice, and every plant and structure has been flash frozen. When you breathe too close to the edge of June's cyclone of warm air, your breath mists out into the frigid air and falls as a fine powder of snow. Less than ideal, he says.
I feel a lot like we're being watched,
Dave whispers, and Solix nods, tight and afraid. Because we are, Solix says slowly, and spreads his wing out, each feather gaining an eye like a far too realistic peacock.
The edge of it is dark. See how the light doesn't travel far? We're being watched from in there. Everything is being warped and twisted. Look.
Matuna says, pointing to what is normally an open area across a grassy strip that leads to one of the other dorms. Now, the grassy strip that couldn't be called a park is wrapped by stalagmites of ice, frozen in twisted trees, and bends light in the air. You can see the other buildings through a sheet of ice, but it's like a mirror maze.
This is winter. Karkat, don't go too far ahead. We could get separated.
Matuna warns him. Karkat hangs back until he's walking just out of June's bubble. What is Winter doing here? It doesn't come here, Jade asks.
Faith stuff isn't really our jurisdiction. I don't know.
Solix tells her. Person, Karkat hisses and stops walking. You peek around the two suddenly armed demons and see what Karkat means, but it's not someone trying to attack you. It's about the furthest thing that you can get from that. It's a person, unmoving and so covered in snow and ice that you almost didn't see them. Karkat moves closer and your group follows uneasily. The closer you can get, the more you can make the figure out. It's a man, slumped on the ground against the lamppost. His legs are buried in a snowdrift, and he seems to be frozen completely solid. His blood isn't moving. Is he dead? Rose asks and looks over at you, though surely the answer is heartbreakingly obvious.
You said Rose instead of Karkat.
Oh. People can hear the voice. They know what's up. But maybe we should switch off narrator.
Yeah.
Not dead, but not alive either. Suspended, maybe? Don't break him. I'm pretty sure that'll kill him for sure, but yeah, he's not dead.
Solix says uneasily.
It's almost like he's dreaming or something.
Matuna agrees.
Note to self, don't drop the warm air thing.
June mutters. Please and thank you, Dave says, his voice shaking a little from how cold he is.
This is a full-on attack, though. Why would they do this?
Jade asks.
It's probably not me. I know I'm different, but...
Karkat shrugs and stands up again.
Yeah, wrong, Pantheon. They don't care about an angel running around Salem, and you've been here this whole time. It can't be you.
Matuna says, speaking to Karkat and then Jade.
Let's keep going.
Karkat suggests. He walks closer to your group and even sets himself on fire. Regular fire, not holy fire. The heat barely makes much of a difference in this cold, but it's definitely better than nothing. As you all walk, you pass more frozen people. Some look like they've succumbed to the cold and collapsed, but others look like they were running from something. You can't say that you care for the distinct hoof prints in the ice and snow. You know about the wild hunt. Terror seizes your heart when you hear the telltale sounds of shifting, like icebergs scraping against each other. You don't like the feeling that you're being penned in and sent down a very specific route in this maze. Worse still is when you look behind you, you see that the path behind is absolutely not the one you walked to get here. You're lost and trapped.
We need a better way of figuring out where we're going. We can't just keep walking around like this.
You insist.
I know where I'm going.
Karkat says simply.
Do you?
Matuna asks in surprise. Karkat stops being on fire for a minute and sticks a hand into his chest. When he pulls it out, there's a card and a book in his hand. You stare at them in confusion.
Your staff ID and a library book?
You ask him.
I finished reading it. It wants to be reshelved, and this knows where I work. I've been following them.
Karkat answers and puts them back.
You could have said something.
June snaps.
It seemed obvious to me.
Karkat shrugs and promptly sets himself on fire again. You know, like a normal person.
So normal.
As you all keep... So normal, just spontaneous combustion. As you all keep walking, the noise of shifting ice only continues to intensify. The looming glaciers around you get higher and higher, and the area around you gets darker and darker. Do you see that light? I ask fearfully because this could easily be some will-o'-the-wisp thing, indicating just how much we're fucked. Dave asks and nods ahead.
I see it.
Karkat confirms.
I fucking hope you do, Captain Eyeballs. If you can't see it, then you clearly need to just give up.
Selleck's truthful. Captain Eyeballs. Here, 1 second. I need to beverage.
Beverage good. I was just taking a beverage break myself.
Shot, 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 shot. Nah, 'tis a water.
Yeah.
Karkat's unimpressed stare is all the more powerful with several hundred eyes at his disposal. Don't get this dude mad. He will give you such the side eye.
Eons of side eye.
Eons of side eye. Never ending side eye. The closer that you walk, the more the light becomes clear, shifting through the clear ice at the lower end of the glaciers.
It's lights. Human lights from a building. From the library.
Karkat whispers in awe as you all round another glacier. All of you jump as the glacier next to you shifts, turning like it's a boat in the water and not a skyscraper of ice on concrete. As it moves, you get your first clear view of the library, surrounded by walls of ice on nearly every side. The library itself is a beacon of warm light, and the area around the building is lush and green despite the concrete that normally is there. The glacier fractures, large shards of it breaking off, but they don't fall on you. They float in the air and point themselves squarely at the library as the glacier itself picks up speed and hurtles towards it.
The library!
Karkat gasps in horror.
No, they're alive! They're people!
Before you can say or do anything, Karkat bursts into a... Sorry, Cat, 1 second. Karkat is just... They're people!
He's so concerned.
He is. He would 100% be the dude that, like, picks up a cat and goes, look, he's people.
Yep.
And I love that for him. Before you can say or do anything, Karkat bursts into a run. From nowhere, 2 weapons appear in his hands, a sickle in one and a long, sharp sword in the other. He slices into the glacier with the sword, exploding it into bits, and digs his sickle into one of the large shards to deflect and redirect it into the other shard. It's clearly not enough. The other glaciers are an obvious threat, and Karkat isn't having it at all. He slams his body and his weapons into them, leaving utter devastation in his wake.
There's not any point in telling him to stop, is there?
June asks as you watch Karkat utterly wreck everything cold that's even hinting at being near the library.
Nah, he's a throne, and he's protecting and making things how he thinks they're supposed to be. Let him get it out of his...
Matuna falters for a second as Karkat smashes a chunk of ice the size of a car with his head.
Let him get it out of his system.
I'm just picturing
Headbutts
Karkat as a
fucking
goalie,
person.
like, fielding chunks of ice off.
Oh my god, please. This man is really throwing hands with fucking glaciers and shit, and I love that for him.
Catch these hands.
Catch this sickle.
This sick sickle.
Sickle? Cyclical?
Cyclically sick sickle. Okay. The ice is definitely magical and reacting too. See?
Sorry, I had to message my mother-in-law real quick.
No worries.
Give me 2 seconds. I gotta go run and give her Kylie's wallet.
Yeah, no worries.
Gotta go. Mission. Unfortunately, I am not done yet, but here is wallet.
Proof that they are 16 years old.
Holy shit, ancient sins. Ancient sins. Sorry, I was shown pictures of the cats when they were itty bitty, and the pictures are 15 years old.
Cute.
Itty bitty.
She got a home.
Aww.
She's pretty.
She is very pretty. So floofy. Alright, I need to go finish my stream. Thank you, Harriet.
We didn't really give you a choice today.
What do you mean?
Picking up Kylie, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a choice.
Hey, Yori. Don't hurt yourself. That's Nix's job. Sorry, I'm back.
Welcome back.
I probably should have muted myself, but
It's okay. It was just a short blip.
oh god fucking damn it, what did I do with my other phone?
Lost in the cushions of the couch.
No, because I'm on my bed.
Lost in the bed.
Oh, there it is. I put it on Kylie's pillow. Sorry, we have a king-size bed, so sometimes it's like, where the fuck did I put the thing?
Right. They are wildly large.
It is. It's the sleepover bed.
Sure is.
Alright, where were we?
The ice is definitely magical and reacting too, see?
Jade points out as another smaller glacier slides towards the library. Karkat bursts into flight so fast that he simply smashes through it without even using any of his magical weapons. Karkat makes a slightly strangled sound that you elect
Solix.
to ignore. What did I say?
Karkat.
Oh. We're doing great.
We're both
So
doing
Alex makes
fabulously.
Yes. Celix makes a slightly strangled sound that you elect to ignore. You also choose to not turn and look at just what expression he has on his face. You absolutely do not wish to know. It's the, oh no, my boyfriend's hot face.
Yep. Couldn't be any other face.
Finally, Karkat stands in front of the unarmed. Yep, the library is unarmed.
This library is locked and loaded.
Okay, finally, Karkat stands in front of the unharmed library in a field of shattered ice. He glares around sharply in every direction as if daring any more frozen water to try it and see how that goes. Cool, Matuna says mildly.
I'm going to take a wild guess and say that your boss, Miss Paint, is a summer fae.
You say. Karkat shakes himself off a little and looks over at you.
I don't know. I think that would make sense, though.
What gave it away? Matuna asks, holding a hand out to gesture to the library building, which is bathed in warm light and surrounded by lush greenery. Karkat sticks his tongue out at Matuna and turns to walk to the library. All of you follow him, and the difference in temperature as you get close is a sheer relief. June's powers were great, but the cold was still trying to get in. Here, it's absent entirely. Karkat tries to open the door to the library, but it's shut and locked. He frowns and leans over to the card reader by the door and swipes his staff ID, then puts in a number code. The door unlocks and Karkat heaves it open. Despite Dave's earlier joke, Karkat does actually hold the door open for all of you. All of you rush into the safety of the library. When you're all inside, Karkat shuts the door again and locks it.
All right, we need to find Kanaya and we need to find what's going on. And secondly, we need to find out what's going on.
Matuna says. You said that part twice, Dave points out, but you're guessing that Matuna got slightly distracted by Karkat calmly swiping his card through the reader so the turnstile will let him through, despite the fact that everyone else jumped over it because this is an emergency.
Just calmly going through the turnstile.
So much, Your Honor. I love him so much.
He's so great.
Karkat's innocent and polite following of library rules just gets you somewhere in your chest. It's so absolutely and absurdly him. Of course, that thought is immediately followed by another where you wonder if that was an appropriate thing to think.
Oh my, what are you doing here? How did you get... Are you okay?
Kanaya's voice says from behind you. You turn to look at her as she rushes over, dropping a chainsaw to the ground as she runs over to hug Matuna.
We came back here and everything was frozen. You were off on an island.
Matuna says and squeezes her tight.
It's really dangerous out there. You should take this.
Karkat starts to say and bends down to pick up the inexplicable chainsaw that Kanaya dropped. You and Karkat both jump as Matuna and Kanaya both shout at Karkat to not touch the chainsaw. Karkat squeaked out a terrified,
Sorry.
and Matuna immediately demands to see his hands despite repeated protests from Karkat that he's fine. Kanaya quietly tucks the weapon away in her bag of holding and looks your group over.
Well, I'm very glad to see that you're all right. I did want to come looking for you, but it's impossible out there. Besides which, Miss Paint has made it very clear that the library was a safe haven, and defending it was a smarter choice. We've had a fair few survivors come in here since this started, but none have come in over the last couple hours.
Kanaya says grimly.
People are frozen out there. Solix and Matuna say they're not dead, but they don't appear to be alive either.
You tell her.
That's terrible.
Kanaya murmurs.
Is your boss keeping this place safe?
Jade asks.
Yes, she's from Summer, so there's a certain amount that she can do for the land that is considered her territory. The library is safe, but I'm doubtful that anywhere else in Salem is. We haven't been able to contact anyone besides her husband. All mundane communication is gone.
Kanaya answers. What does Winter even want? Your boss? Dave wonders.
Maybe, but it doesn't seem to fit. The ice has locked us in, but no one has made any attempt to...
Kanaya trails off, staring out at the glass doors. You turn and look. The ice is reforming, but not into the icebergs of before. This time into tall trees of ice with unnatural cold branches. There's a suggestion of shadows beyond them. Shadows that are definitely watching. Karkat rushes to the glass and stares out, too still and not breathing.
They want to get in.
Karkat says finally.
Miss Paint is at the heart of the library, giving it everything that she has. She put all of the students to sleep so they wouldn't panic. They've not tried to get in until now. I don't know how well we can defend this place, but I can think of some very good curses if it comes to it.
Kanaya says gravely.
Can we find out what they want? Get a message out?
June asks worriedly.
Demonic and angelic magic doesn't work perfectly against fey magic in a fey realm. I don't know how much help we can be. Some help, obviously, but I can't promise.
Satan? You there? Satan! Oh. Welcome back.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, what was the last thing you heard me say?
I can't promise exactly what.
Okay, Sullick says warily.
Fey magic.
Karkat says slowly.
KK, what are you thinking? It sounds stupidly dangerous.
Sullick asks worriedly. Matuna looks just as concerned.
I can draw power from other sources, right? Non-holy sources. I don't have to give up my god or fall for that, right?
Karkat asks, only looking away from the glass after he summoned other eyes to keep watching.
Do you mean the whistle? I could juice you a little with that, but I could just end up claiming you instead, and I don't know what that would do to you. It's way too chaotic. We can't do something like that on the fly. Maybe if we had time to draw out a proper
June answers.
contract, an agreement about exactly the terms. It's not an allegiance, but it's serving still.
Karkat says.
Like a deal or vow? You shouldn't really make those, and we've got other options. We've got other options before that.
Matuna points out. Karkat puts his hand into his chest again and pulls out his staff ID, turning it to face all of you.
I already have a contract. The library is Fey territory. I work here. I agreed to protect the books and the students. That could work, right? If you give the whistle to Miss Paint, I could use that then. Then it's not holy magic.
Karkat says.
That's quite an interpretation of any other duties, but he is right. The contract does task us with protecting the library and anyone or anything in it. It's a binding contract that Karkat already signed.
Yummy.
Matuna says. Oh, I forgot that Kanaya says slowly.
Oh, we just doing our best
Sorry
here.
about that.
Listen, man, eyes jump.
Eyes jump. We think we're done with that
Can-
line, and we move on.
Uh-huh. Kanaya walks to Karkat and takes his staff ID. She flicks it and a contract materializes from it. Matuna and June hurriedly read it over as Sullick tries to lean in and look as well.
He can quit any time, and it doesn't demand that he acts like this forever. It's only hard on actual library rules.
June says after a moment of reading. Sorry, is Karkat about to be an angel of the library? Is that what's happening here? Dave asks incredulously.
I guess he has been since he worked here.
Jade points out.
Please, the books are like people. There's students in here. There's us in here. I need to.
Karkat pleads quietly.
Jones.
Matuna sighs and shakes his head.
Are we doing this?
June asks, her hand on the blue string holding the whistle around her neck. Matuna nods unhappily and holds his hand out. June slides the whistle off her neck and drops it into Matuna's hand.
I'm trusting you to be smart. Don't get yourself killed, or worse.
Matuna tells Karkat sternly.
I promise. Thank you.
Karkat whispers and hugs Matuna quickly.
I'll show you the way quickly.
Kanaya says, and both of them run off deeper into the library at incredible speed. Karkat... Oops, sorry, 1 second, getting cozy.
Yep.
Karkat goes back to looking outside. Sullick is at his side, but neither of them block the view enough to stop you from seeing just how many shapes are lurking at the encroaching ice forest. The frost running over the ground turns into melt water as winter runs into summer.
You're not going out there alone, KK.
Sullick tells him. June pulls a heavy metal hammer from the hair?
Must be a typo.
Yeah, it must be air. June pulls a heavy metal hammer from the air and helps it onto her shoulder.
You're definitely not alone. Thanks.
Karkat Carcat's voice trails off and something ripples through the library. A million pages fan at once, producing a sound like some great beast breathing. Carcat's feathers puff up over his wings, and then he shakes his wings, as you've seen 1,000 bird videos demonstrate. What happens when he stops is not something that you've seen in bird videos, but perhaps origami videos. Every feather in Carcat's wings is no longer a white bird feather, but now long and intricate paper feathers, cut and trimmed to be every bit as intricate as his normal feathers. His halo has shifted from the usual golden light to something brighter, the burning white and yellow edge of the sun at midday in the height of summer. Carcat's skin is unnaturally bright, too. Not like he's glowing, but rather lit up as if he alone was in the light of a bright summer day.
That'll work, I think.
Carcat says. He holds a hand out and fire appears in the palm of his hand. Or rather, descriptions of fire appear in his hand. Little flickering words about fire in burning letters float up in typographic impressions of fire. Ugh, you're such an embarrassing nerd. Stop being attractive like it makes me worth. Give me a second. I don't know how to read.
No worries.
Oh, you're such an embarrassing nerd. Stop being attractive like that. It makes me respect myself less. Sullix complains. That ship has absolutely sailed, man, Dave points out, making Carcat's shoulders shake with a quiet laugh that comes to the soundtrack of rustling pages.
Adorable.
And love them.
They're so great. All right,
best.
we're going out there. You three need to make sure that nothing gets in here in case anything does get past us.
June instructs you all. You, Dave, and Jade all nod. Hopefully, Matuna and Kanai will be back soon, but you're more than capable of putting up a fight if you have to. You're glad that you all took Mindfang's classes.
I'm going to kill anyone who even thinks of coming in here.
Carcat hisses as he stares out of the glass.
Yeah, how about I do the talking?
June says flatly. You don't open with that. They have manners, unlike you. Sullix agrees.
Being honest is polite.
Carcat says sulkily.
Oh, man. Come on.
June groans and opens the door with Carcat and Sullix following right behind her. You, Dave, and Jade rush to the doors and watch nervously as your friends rock? Yep, rock.
They rock it out.
Walk across the rocket. As your friends walk across the grass of summer towards the edge of winter. I really hope that June doesn't do the thing, Dave murmurs.
What thing?
Jade whispers. Where she said that Carcat's thing was dumb to say, and so she's doing the talking, only for her to do the funnier thing and go out there and yell like, mothers and fuckers of winter, who wants in on this epic smackdown sort of shit, Dave whispers.
Oh, God, she would as well.
You say in hushed fear. She might even be obligated to do that for trickster god reasons. On a lucky turn of events, that doesn't happen. You're not sure yet if it's good luck or bad luck. What happens is that several armed horsemen burst from the frozen tree line and try to shoot your friends before June can even say a word. Sullix vaporizes one of them with magical lasers, and Carcat draws a sword, and the best description that you can give is that Carcat very firmly renders the horseman in the past tense, as well as a good number of messy conjugations and a comma splice that bleeds profusely.
Oh my gosh. I forgot how wild this is.
He rendered him in the past tense.
Delightful.
If you keep this up, your pronouns will be was, were.
Amazing.
And another wave of armed Fae rush out, and June swings her hammer with a crack of lightning and a sudden tornado force wind that launches her opponents into the distance like the villains on kids' cartoons.
I think we can all be reasonable about this. Why don't you come out here and tell us what you want, and this doesn't have to escalate?
June yells with the voice of a literal god.
That comes across as a little condescending, actually. Like June is saying she's way more powerful than them.
Jade says with a wince. Does it? You glance at Dave, and he doesn't seem to think that June went too far, but then Jade is Fae. If she interpreted that bad, then oh no. That is a lot of Fae. A lot of very angry Fae with very sizable magical weapons. June says something quickly to Sullix and Karkat. Both of them dart back to the library, and Sullix bursts through the door and slams it shut. Karkat slams his hand over the seam of the door, and words run over the glass in light gray.
Safe, secure, protected, guarded, impervious, inviolable, invulnerable, shielded, preserved, safeguarded, unassailable.
The transparent words scroll over and over in repeat, though you don't get time to search to see if you can find more variations, because Sullix pulls you closer. I hate when she does this. I don't hate it so much. Don't look, you might lose. Sullix says, his voice almost at a level that you could call a whimper. June faces the oncoming Fae. You can just see her over the slope of Sullix's shoulder, and everything starts to go wrong. June's body shifts, not the shape shifting that you'd seen before, but rather into something not right at all. Her hair bleaches a pinkish orange, and her limbs seem wrong, like her bones aren't quite right. She holds her hands up at her sides, palms up to the sky, and the world twists. The sky above you shatters apart, revealing something beyond it like the kids' toys where you scratched a black film off of paper to reveal a rainbow background beneath. This is no mere child's art supply. The sky is a strobing nightmare, and if you didn't have the experience with Cthulhu that you do, then you think you would have screamed to see it. Everything in your being tells you that what you are seeing is wrong. June is a god, but not just of weather. She's a trickster god. Unreality, laughter, impossible madness. Her inclination to comedy movies and slapstick is fine, but you forgot what trickster gods are really about at their core. Reality is very obviously just a suggestion out there, and it is snapping and twisting apart like a kid's kaleidoscope. Worse still, you can see several Fae shuddering, shifting into neon colors themselves and falling to the ground with either a scream or a laugh. Maybe both. You feel motion sick in your soul. Reality settles back into place and the sky stops strobing. June looks a little bit more normal, but not completely. You can see her call out, but evidently, Karkat's protection in the library prevents you from hearing her voice now.
Look out there. There's someone out there. June stopped doing whatever that was.
You say, and point over Sullix's shoulder to a figure emerging from the woods, dragging something. Someone.
And now we leave you
Damn,
off
what a place to stop.
on this cliffhanger. Suffer.
Suffer, suffer, scream in pain.
We're just giving you the experience of what it's like to read these things when they're being updated. Where like every week
True
you're just
enough.
like, no, go back, more.
Unda, please.
Please, more. Please, even more
Please,
somehow.
Unda.
A whole novel in a chapter is not enough. More, please.
We need more.
Such
Not
is the
me
fan
with
life.
freaking, what is it? Not MC. E equals MC squared. That's the one.
Yeah. I'm so
Like,
excited
hi,
for
yes,
that. I'm
for
sure it's going to be
everything.
great.
Right? Listen, I have so many thoughts about it.
So many thoughts and ponderings.
So many thoughts.
Wonderful. Alrighty, well, we shall end off and leave you all here. We hope you have a fabulous rest of your day whenever you're hearing this, and take care.
Adios.